Hey, Homestead Prepper. Okay, I want to show you guys my underwater wood stove, underwater cook stove, immersion heater, whatever you want to call it. I needed a cheap and practical way to heat up a lot of hot water in a off-grid or grid-down situation, or if I go on a extended long-term camping trip, something like that. Now, I do have one of these right here, and that will make a lot of hot water, but it's dependent on a liquid fuel like gas, kerosene, diesel, Jet A. And I wanted something that I could just replenish its fuel source with just common wood. And I'd say most off-grid people, most, not all, have good access to some free wood. So that's what I wanted right there. Now, this is just a proof of concept. It's built mainly out of scrap. I think I got probably around $20 in it right now. It needs to be sandblasted. I'm looking into getting a high temperature FDA approved powder coating to put on there to mitigate the rust and corrosion and stuff. But for now, it's as is. That is just a standard propane tank like everybody has. Some 3-inch, 4-inch steel tubing. Schedule 40, and that's a piece of 6-inch Schedule 40 steel on the top. Like I said, it was left over from other jobs. I have some chunks of steel down at the bottom of that, and it's for two reasons. One, to help control the buoyancy, because the thing has a tendency when you put water in it, wants to float up out of there. And I also have a steel grate in there too, in case I want to burn charcoal or coal. But the chunks of steel also are going to help retain more heat and make it more of an efficient burn in there. Now, I probably will be doing a hot tub project sometime in the future, and I'm going to need something a little bit bigger than that, and I'm probably going to use that decommissioned beer keg right there. It's been damaged, so I will turn that into one of these, but it'll all be stainless, and it'll be heating up a lot more water than just that. So, well, let's pick that thing up, put it in that tub, and we'll get this show on the road right here. That's just my lifting hooks right there. I took that piece off the exhaust there to make it a little bit lighter. Let's put that back on. Okay, well let's put some water in there and see if we can get some hot water going. I need some fuel to run that underwater wood stove. On the right, those are two limbs that in my yard, just fell down, picked them up. I've got some split oak right here. This came out of my yard as well, as did these twigs, and this makes a good kindling right here, good starter, and that come out of my yard as well. So let's I'm gonna probably have to saw these up a little bit smaller, and I'll probably cut a couple pieces of that. That's punky wood, at least it'll probably get the fire going a little better. So, and then I'll put the good stuff in there, and we'll see how much fuel we use and if we can get some hot water. Okay, I don't know if you can see down in there or not, but I don't have any water intrusion, so I've got some good leak-proof welds there. I've got a thermometer here. Let's see what the temperature of the water is. It's kind of a cool day here in mid-Florida. The water usually stays around 70 degrees year-round. Let's see what we got here. Now that's the temperature. Let's try it right there. So yeah, a little less than 70 degrees here. Okay, well let's I've got this tinder I already showed y'all. I've got a bunch of sticks and stuff around. I've got this, so let's get a fire in there and see if we can raise the temperature a little bit higher than, we're right at 69 even. Okay, I'm just gonna stick these pine needles down here. This is an awesome tinder. Makes an awesome fire starter. I don't want that wet stuff in there. And we'll throw in a couple of small twigs right here. some of that down there. Oh, let me get that ready. Alright, let's throw a match down there. Let's see if that takes off. Of course, it's not going to take off because we're on camera right now. Okay. See that? So I actually had to put it on the pine needles itself. So that's going to take off. Let's put this stack back on here so it'll do a draw. Oh boy, that's out of balance right there. Alright. Okay, I got this thing going. I had to put this on here. I'll probably let that open up and burn a little bit more and get it going before I throw some of this heavier wood on here. I had to actually brace it up against the side of that because when you put the stack on, it wants to lean over. So, alright, well, let's let it get burned in. Okay, this thing has been running about 20 minutes. Let's see what kind of temperatures we're getting out of here. The water was 69. Let's see what we got now. 86. So we have a 17 degree rise in temperature in about 20 minutes. That's almost a degree a minute. Let's you can look over here. You can see those bubbles forming on that pipe right there. Let's see what kind of temperature we got on that. It says that's 103 degrees. That gets a little hotter up there. Let's look at the tank. So the tank is staying relatively cool because of the cooling from the water. So you can see some bubbles forming on that. Let's see what we got there. So it's probably going to get a little bit hotter than that. So let's we'll just wait a few more minutes and we'll see what kind of rise we get, and I'll try and monitor the time. Okay, I don't know if you can hear this or not. Try and put the mic up next to it. But it sounds a lot like a rocket stove, and you can see the flames shooting up in there. An idea that I've come up with is I could probably put a copper coil in there and make a thermosiphon like Engineer 775 showed us on a wood stove. Not a wood stove, a rocket stove, and gain a little more efficiency out of that, but that's probably down the road. But for right now, something easy I can do to regain a little bit of this heat that's coming up here out of the stack is I can just put this homemade trivet on there, and I can put this hot pan on here, and I can put some water, and I can get some usable, get some of that waste heat that otherwise is just gonna, go away. But I think rather than that, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cook me some breakfast. So let me go get a frying pan, some bacon, eggs, stuff like that, and while the water's heating up, I can make use of that heat, that waste heat, and get something to eat too. Alright, it's time to take another temperature reading. Let's turn this thing on right here, and we'll just shoot for the bottom of the tank. 111 degrees in probably about 30 or 35 minutes. So that's let's try it over here. Over there it's 101. Of course it's going to be hotter over here because that's where the exhaust is. I need to stir this up. I bet if I were to stick my hand down in there, it would be cool on the bottom. Let's get this stirred up, see how hot we can get this water here. Okay, I don't know if you caught that or not, but I just stirred that up with my hand, and it's almost at a good bath temperature right now. So let's see what we got. Let's see what we got here. 92. That stirring it up kind of lowered the temperature. I want my bath water around 100, 105, so we'll see how long it takes us to get there. Alright, well you can see the smoke rising on the water right there. Let's Take another temperature reading here. I have just recently stirred it up, and that smoke is, well, it's a little warm in there. 109 degrees, and it's been about 45 or 50 minutes, and that is a that's a 50 almost a 50 degree rise. That's almost a degree a minute. Let's see what we are over here. Of course, yeah, it's going to be a little warmer over there. See that pipe? The water's plenty hot. So, okay, I'm trying to cook my bacon right now. I don't seem to be getting a whole lot of heat. The water seems to be absorbing a lot of the heat here, but that was the idea anyway. If I could cook off of it, that's great. We'll see if that does get a little hotter. I should have put that on there to begin with, so it could have been heating up. But we got the pan is right at about 203, somewhere in there. Oh, excuse me, 213. So I guess it needs to be a little hotter for it to sizzle. Okay, well, that's where we're at right now. 50 minutes, 45 minutes, and we have water smoking, and it's kind of a little too hot for me. And it's been a little over an hour, and that water is so hot I can't stick my hand in there and stir it. So let's see what kind of temperatures we're getting. 126 degrees. Well, that's definitely too hot for me to get in there. 123, 122. So we have over a 50 degree rise in temperature in just a little over an hour with just a very primitive little stove right here. I'm cooking my bacon right now too, so I'll let you know how that turns out. It seems like a lot of heat is being absorbed by this and not really getting up to that thing right there, so I may have to move that down, or if I were to pull this out of the water and cook it freestanding, I guarantee that would get a lot hotter. But the purpose was to make hot water so that I can put it in my beer keg shower, or if I want to take a hot bath off grid. Now I've got a bunch of junk in the water, guys. That's from breaking sticks and stuff like that over there. I would of course need to scoop that out, or get a better system of putting wood in there. But overall, I'm gonna have to call this a success. So we don't have a lot of smoke pouring out of here, so it seems to be burning very efficiently. I wonder what the temperature of that is. 129, and then it kind of jumps up from there. So okay, well, like I said, proof of concept. It of course could use some modifications or enhancements. If I were to put some pipes or tubes in there and make more like of a heat exchanger where the fire goes through there and the water could go across there, that would increase the efficiency. And we already talked about the thermosiphon. So there's still some more work to do here, guys, but overall this is going to give me hot water in a off-grid situation. Okay, some of y'all probably want to know how much wood I put in that thing. If you remember a little earlier in the video, I showed you the wood. I had the 2 dead branches. I didn't use any of that. I just used the little scrap pieces, the pine needles, and that pile of wood that you saw right there. So anyway, just thought you might want to know that. Didn't really take a whole lot of wood to heat the water up to those temperatures. Okay, it's okay to start now?
Yeah. Careful you don't flip the pot into the water.
Ooh, that would be nasty. Well, it's cooking it. It's just doing it really, really slow. There's not a lot of extra heat there. Alright, let that cook for a few minutes. Some definitely hot water right there.
You wouldn't want to bathe in it.
No, but you would want to put it in your shower and kind of tame it with a little cold water. Yeah. Flip it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it's doing it. It's just taking a long time to do it. Okay, I've got Mrs. HSP out here, and I want her honest opinion about this thing right here. Just tell me what you think and everything.
I love it. I think if we were in a situation where we couldn't have any electricity, or if we were off grid somewhere, you know, out camping for a length of time, this would be a perfect bath. And how can a bath not be good when you're out camping? But the only thing I don't like about it is the dirt that's in the water. But that could be remedied or prevented very easily. You know, just be careful about putting
breaking the wood over the water.
Breaking the wood over the water or whatever, and or you could put it under a little, you know, a canvas or a shelter of some sort. I love that it's got such a volume here, and it's so easy to heat it up. You said this holds right here at about 75 to 80 gallons, minus the guts.
Yeah, if you were to fill it up, it's a 100-gallon tank, but it's not filled up, and that probably takes up, I don't know, 5 or 7 gallons of volume right there.
Now, if you were to have to heat this water up, this volume of water on the stove using electricity, that would be a lot of electricity, and it'd be very time-consuming. Or you could even heat it, you know, pot by pot over a campfire. But that's going to be time consuming. By the time you got one pot in there, it's getting cold while you're working on the next pot. And anyway, so so that being said, how long did it take to heat this up to bathwater temperature?
Well, I got about 104, 105 degree temperature at about 40, 45 minutes, 50 minutes, somewhere in there. Around 45 or 50 minutes, I think. It's just way too hot right now. It's over 130.
Yeah, but by the time you were to take this out, you would have to add cold water to it in order to have enough to take a bath with. So that's, you know, overheating it a little bit and then adding some cold water, you know, to compensate. That would be perfect, I think. On an off-grid situation, or if we had a hurricane or whatever come through here and we're out of power for a week like we were, you know, back when those last hurricanes came, I think if the whole neighborhood was down, we would be the envy of the neighborhood, and we could hang us a sign out there on the fence and say, you know, hot baths, 5 cents. we could even you know, sell the soap.
Yeah, there you go.
But I think it's great. And then as a byproduct, you've got the heat coming up through the chimney here, and we've thrown a couple of eggs on here and some bacon. It's very slow cooking, but it is a way to use, you know, that extra heat. And you know, a lot of things, you know, it's better if they're slow cooked or whatever. You get a lid to put on top of this, that would be perfect. It would even hold the heat in. But that right now, the eggs and bacon look pretty good to me.
Yeah, it does. I'm gonna have to try a bite.
Yeah.
That cast iron's working pretty good right there. Let me try a bite here. Oh, it's nice and hot too.
Yeah.
Would you like to try a bite?
It's nice and hot, and it's not burning.
What do you think? I know you like your bacon a little crispier.
Yeah.
I have to work on getting this a little hotter. Or pull this out, set it down somewhere, and it'll probably get up more heat. It's absorbing too much heat into the water right now.
Yeah.
But, yeah, well.
It's really not a problem. That egg tastes really good.
I think we're going to have to get some Cuban bread and put that on Cuban bread.
That sounds good. That sounds good.
Okay, well, that's what I wanted was an honest opinion from Mrs. HP. That is one of the things I do love about her. So, okay, anything else you want to say?
Yeah, look at the. I don't know if the camera will show all that heat coming off the water, but you can tell that.
Yeah,
that water's hot.
It's smoking. It's too hot.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay, all right, guys. Homestead Prepper out. Okay, the fire has burned out some time ago. It's not burning at all. Let's see what kind of temperatures we got. You see the water still smoking. That's some hot water, and that is one thing about water, is it will retain its heat for quite a while, even if there's no insulation around this. Okay, Homestead Prepper out.